get to play to their win conditions. This is a team that has been down and out in their last few games, and Fnatic now potentially rising after that first win against Rogue. We will find out. It is our match of the day. Misfits Gaming versus Fnatic. Fnatic find their second win. Will they force Misfits a little bit further down in the standings? That is what we're going to answer tonight.
This is an exciting game. I'm looking forward to it. Fnatic on the bounce back after their win yesterday. Misfits, they need a win after their defeat. Currently at 0-2. They're currently at 3-2. That's what I meant to say. And they're kind of moving away from the top of the pack. You've got to remember that after Vitality's win, they now join Schalke in second place, right behind G2. So they've kind of solidified themselves as the top 3 in Europe. And Misfits were there for a while, but after their 2 defeats, now many people are questioning, are they actually up there? Can they still compete with the top level? And getting a convincing win over Fnatic would definitely make that case. Whereas Fnatic, they want to find their form back on stage. They want to get some wins on the board. And Medic made an excellent point yesterday, which is that Splice went 0-4 in summer. They then went to Rift Rivals. They lost some more. And then after Rift Rivals, they came back and they made it to playoffs. And they were an extremely dominant team. So I don't think we should lose all faith in Fnatic. They've proven multiple times throughout the years they can convert new players into talented ones. And this is still a very stacked roster. So I'm expecting the bounce back to come. It's just a matter of when.
And as an update on the pause, Maxlore is reporting that his settings have been reset. So giving him a moment in this pause to reset those settings. And then we will be back into the game. You know, crucial. It's got weird keybinds. What do you want?
That's Converse glasses. I didn't know they made glasses. Interesting.
Looking sharp. Bearded Maxlore.
Yeah, he became a very handsome man after he got the bid. I will
Maxlore, sorry, clarifying. Maxlore paused for Hansama. Oh. So he's looking out for the team right now. That's the kind of leadership you want there.
He also tweeted out that he beat SoaZ on the bet because you and SoaZ now have to do you have to do ASMR, I think.
Yeah, so not as, I mean, I talk a lot, right? So not as weird for me, but SoaZ definitely has to ASMR a team fight.
But I believe that Maxlore said very specifically in a French accent. Now,
so that wasn't a part of the bet, I'll be honest.
I'm just going to say
I'm going to say yes to that, but that
SoaZ,
wasn't a part.
That's quite easy, you know.
Oh, do I need to do a French accent?
And what's your French accent like?
I'm going to offend some people, Vedius. I only have very bad American TV stereotypes to go off of, and I do not think that is what anyone wants to hear.
I didn't ask for you. I just said, could you do one? And I'll take your no as a good, satisfactory
Satisfactory, for sure. We are back in the game. Settings have been fixed. It is Misfits versus Fnatic. It is our match of the day. And once again, early game, the story for Misfits. An early game that could go awry if they overcommit here, as Hylissang is just fishing for a binding.
What, are they just playing chicken? Misfits walked in front of that bush and they're just like, nah, if he'd land a binding on me. There it is, the delayed binding.
Blind! This man he's got the paper out, he's doing the math, he knows exactly where they're going to be standing. Already won the lane, just like that.
Blinding, some could say. Anyway, Maxlore going for an invade on the top side, doing a solo Raptors into enemy red buff. I don't know if he's going to split the map. I'm curious as to where he goes after this. Will he go from red to his red? Or will he instead just go towards the top side? Because remember, he's just burnt through his mana right now. But I think he can be pretty confident that he'll out-trade Broxah. And he knows that he has pressure in the mid lane as well. But what's he going to do now? Let's keep an eye on him.
Oh, and he's now been spotted out too, so does give a little bit more information to Broxah, giving that away. As he's pinged out once again, heading towards the mid lane. May go back to defend his own jungle.
Yep. I like this. I think this is smart, because you want to deny Broxah as much as possible. He's playing on the Zac. We saw it from Vitality earlier on in the day, where when the enemy is playing as more of a scaling teamfight jungler, then you're gonna punish them in the early phase. So that's exactly what they're doing.
Speaking of punishing, Fnatic looks like they must have gotten a massive trade on the back of the level 2 spike, and already we see Kalista burning through the pot. Gorilla also. Hasn't had to burn a pot yet, is healing up a little bit. But currently, pressure definitely in the favor of Fnatic. But as you mentioned this, that the Morgana Kaisa is going to have the push early on. But SoaZ out for blood here on the top side. But we're going to trade back with the knock-up and a few autos as well. But currently things going very well for the Urgot, whereas for the bottom side of the map, this Kalista Alistar has really yet to take off.
Yeah, so had a look back at the footage, and Hylissang actually landed a binding just as they hit level 2, which is why he suffered so much damage in that laning phase and why he's a little bit behind. But now he is level 2. Behind Sama, he does have the Door and Shield too, who regen some of that up along with the passive proc from the Targon. Why do I forget Relic Shield?
Sort of the occult.
Listen, as a color caster, I know what they look like and I know what they do, I just don't learn the names.
Look, there's Goldie Shield, there's Scaly Stabby, which is sort of the occult. We got new names, Vedius is the key to success here.
And like the jungle item is called the Orange Dragon. That's how I know that one.
This is the Orange Dragon. Hunter's Talisman is the Orange Dragon.
That's the Orange Dragon. That's the tank item.
You know what, I'll give you that one. I like that one actually, the orange. So both junglers opting for the Orange Dragon start here. Interesting choice to be sure, but happy to have extra mana regen. And right now I feel like we're getting some of those Mowgli vibes coming in from Maxlore, where he has had this very dominant jungle start and has played super aggressive with his Olaf, which is kind of what we like to see on this champion.
That's what you want to be doing. He does... he falls off in the late game in terms of damage. He's still an effective tank, because you typically itemize full tank anyway. But he can't really threaten the backline the same way in which Broxah does, because he offers a huge amount in terms of utility, which is the main difference between the two, especially in the late game.
This is a bit awkward. Broxah using the help of the Raptors to do a little bit of damage here. Looks like Smite does go in the favor of Maxlore in the end, though, and you can see Broxah contesting that camp because there was nothing else for him to do. All the jungle camps have been taken right up until those wolves respawn, so a lot of pressure coming out from Maxlore as Febiven just keeps that mid lane push.
Now, SoaZ had a bit of a rough game yesterday. His cannon really got shut down. He was like 0-2. He didn't find any successful flanks, and he overall had a pretty poor performance yesterday against XL. But coming into today, he has a winning matchup with the Urgot into the Sion, and he is really leveraging the power that he has, which makes it very easy for Maxlore to set up these invades on the top side, and the same can be said for Febiven. We talked about how the Kassadin in the early laning phase really struggles. He doesn't really have any wave clear. He can't really trade effectively because he gets outranged. Every time you try to approach Febiven, if you land the Q, fun fact, you get minion aggro. So you really struggle in this matchup early laning phase, but once you get a bit of mana under your belt, once you get a bit of items, especially once you get level 6, the trading pattern becomes a lot easier for the Kassadin, and he'll be able to scale back up later into the game.
He's going to get that first back, forcing the TP to come back lane. Opts for the blasting wand, though, does not opt for a little bit more mana, has the refillable potion as well, so interesting decision there.
So this to me implies he's going for the Rod of Ages build, decided not to go for the tier, which is fine. I think that's a lot more standard. Usually you go Rod of Ages into something like a Lichbane or Zhonya's Hourglass, depending on your preference. Ooh, that was actually a flash from Bwipo.
Well played around the power spike on level 6. This is when Urgot very strong relative to the Sion. Now Nemesis is rolling up, so this is a limited time window. SoaZ wants to bring this one home. Suppressed! We talked about this matchup. Solo kill coming in for SoaZ. Nemesis wants to clean it up, but Bwipo is fading away, and the Kassadin doesn't have any kill pressure.
No, he recognizes he can't get that 1v1 against SoaZ. He has more than enough mana and health, and he solo kills Bwipo. Beautiful stuff from the former Fnatic top laner as he picks up first kill for Misfits.
Great playing around that level 6 spike, Vedius, and that's brutal. And you saw it, Misfits set SoaZ up for success.
They're swapping.
Headbutt pull, Hylissang. Back off.
Damn, I was not expecting this. They're actually putting Bwipo into this mid lane matchup. Now, Sion can work mid lane. That's nothing new. But they actively pick the Kassadin into this matchup. I don't think Kassadin's going to have an easier time against an Urgot, I'll be honest with you. Oh, okay, he's actually just picking up the farm. My mistake. I jumped to conclusions.
Well, and to be fair, Bwipo definitely needs it. It's currently 49-32 on the top side of the map. Urgot has a Cole and he's steadily gaining more and more value in this lane, and very much on the back foot here. Good stop on the backs, though, for Fnatic. And Hylissang just keeps landing these bindings. Level 6, though, coming in for Nemesis. Big chunk of damage coming out. Febiven desperately trying to recoup there to even out the trade. Maxlore now running forward. Bwipo potentially in trouble here as Maxlore just zones off Broxah. No flash available for the Sion, but he is just going to be able to walk away. Has the ulti up and available, and Misfits taking control of that jungle, but in the mid lane, Febiven just doing what he can to trade back.
So you can see at 6 how this matchup becomes a little bit easier for Nemesis. And every time Febiven jumps in, and Nemesis can actually close the gap again and drop his whole combo down. So the matchup gets a little bit better at this point. And now you're actually seeing the value in him going for the blasting one, because he has damage to back up some of his abilities. So Febiven doesn't have quite the free lane that he has before, but still, he'd already built up a strong advantage early on. on, and that's where the differential is coming from right now.
And Broxah now needs to run. Maxlore on the way in. Broxah just going to snap flash over the wall. This means that they are now set up to contest that buff. They have the pressure on the bottom side with the Kalista Alistar, and they're going to deny those resources from the Kassadin. That's a pretty important victory, albeit a small one.
Now, Fnatic do know that Maxlore is in the enemy jungle, but Hylissang hasn't moved up yet. He hasn't actually based yet, neither is Rekkles. And I'm surprised that they're not playing more for that blue buff.
I'm so buffed.
But instead, here comes Febiven. He's on his way down. This is where I'm expecting the action to happen, Rekkles.
It's on the bottom side of the map. Can Misfits play through their bottom lane this time around? Rekkles not going to play scared, though, still stepping forward, not afraid to throw down a little bit of damage onto Gorilla, and they're going to have to back off.
This does surprise me a little bit, because normally when you're stacking a wave towards bot in the past, you would look to set up a dive to try and get a kill, or maybe even a tower. But now you can't really do that with all the turret plating, so if you're stacking a wave, you're mainly playing for stacks. But Maxlore immediately backed away the moment Hylissang and Rekkles backed away, which means that Misfits bot lane didn't even secure themselves the turret plate.
And you're in a really awkward spot right now if you're Broxah. Vedius, it is 9 minutes into the game, and the Zac is still level 5. Hylissang is ahead of this man in experience, already the level 6. So Maxlore doing a great job to shut down the Zac from kind of countering on any of these plays, and finally they're going to get the blue buff donated over to Febiven. It does mean that he misses a few CS here, but a worthwhile exchange.
Let's not forget, in the new patch, the jungle experience was nerfed as well, so you fall behind now, and it hurts you even more, because you're just overall getting less experience, and catch-up XP is less prevalent than it was, because it now happens like every 2 jungle levels rather than every single one.
Finally going to get level 6 here, though. Finally going to hit that breakpoint. Will be spotted out on this ward, though, which is going to stop him from making any greater plays. But once again, just a kind of a focus on the PvE right now from Broxah. Knows that he's behind in these matchups. And Misfits, they do have the 2k gold lead at this stage. Maxlore happy to grab the Cloud Drake, but the Drake RNG not super in his favor. This one going to go down uncontested, but Fnatic not too afraid of losing the Cloud here.
Some of the vision has been set up. You'll notice that Hylissang did go back to base and purchase some items. 9.5 CS is what Rekkles goes back to base on, and he completes it with BF Sword and Dagger and completed boots. This is a very late base. Just to illustrate, normally AD carries would prefer to go back earlier than this. But both bot lanes have just been farming a lot. Now Rekkles and Hylissang actually swap, and this is what we talked about. The level 6 mark for Hylissang and Gorilla, very strong. The risk of a kill gets much higher, that much quicker, especially if Maxlore makes an appearance too. So Fnatic preempting it will not only get Bwipo out of this matchup, but can also threaten to take some of the turret plates up top and get more gold onto Rekkles.
Now Febiven is man in trouble, but is just going to double dash out of that mid lane. Gonna have to see how this race goes for the first tower.
I don't know if they can take the first tower, but you're getting a lot of gold onto Hylissang right now, which is really good for Misfits duo, but Fnatic are looking to do the same on the top side. The problem is, SoaZ has a lot of wave clear. There's not a big wave there, and SoaZ wouldn't even be able to walk each.
And now, Sion now moving down to the bottom lane to try to deny something. This could be a bit awkward if he comes in too late. He's just going to focus on clearing the way, puts him in a bit of an awkward spot there as Gorilla's going to tank a few tower shots. So Bwipo doing a good job of holding on here. That last little piece of plating, holding on for dear life as the duo for Misfits is on the top side. Maxlore ready to go into flash forward, trying to lock down the Kaisa. The Black Shield can now come in, but where's the ulti going to go? Now pulling back as Hylissang wants to turn this one, but Maxlore's in the midst of the fight. Hylissang now going golden as they're going to back off. Unstoppable, Febiven coming in, looking for the cleanup duty. Can he find it in the midst of this team? Landing it, but no one has died yet. The chain's right there. Finds the kill. The Ignite goes down on Rekkles, but now they have to drink his Nemesis looking for a little bit of cleanup. But that's the clone! That's the wrong target! And the snipe from SoaZ!
Beautiful stuff from Misfits. They punished the swap from Fnatic, and now Gorilla is looking to set up a dive in bot.
Bwipo now could be in trouble. Hylissang, though, just setting his sights on the tower, not as worried. The cannon creep is there. They throw down a bit of damage, but I'll be honest, a little anticlimactic given the excitement on the top side of the map.
But overall, this is really bad for Fnatic because of all the extra gold that Misfits bot lane will get from all that turret plating. Now, what you can see here is SoaZ knows his jungler is here, and Febiven is on his way. So they just go for the all-in this 2v2. They aren't aware that Broxah joins, but they don't care. The ultimate from Olaf means that he can just tank through all the crowd control and buy enough time for Febiven to arrive to help get that kill, and clutch chain from Febiven to help secure that kill. He then gets a good chunk of damage onto Rekkles, and they think that this is the real Febiven. Unfortunately, it is not. They got duped, and then Broxah's just disengaging, think that's the end of the fight. he doesn't realize that SoaZ still has his ultimate up and is able to find that effective snipe.
And this is the worst part, is that because he was pulled back into the Urgot, the Zac passive procs under the tower. If he just died there, let's say from a LeBlanc Q, he probably would have been able to protect the revive. But insult to injury, most certainly there for this lineup. And now Bwipo doing everything he can to clear the wave and hold on to this tower, but Gorilla willing to commit the ult to break it down.
And look at the gold difference now, 4,000 in favor of Misfits. This early game going exactly the way they want it. 400 is the advantage for Hans Summer. Mid lane is 1,000 gold in the lead. It's 1,200 in favor of Misfits, and yeah, we expected this. Fnatic drafted 3 losing lanes. They were all about scaling, waiting to get to the late game fights, and so Misfits having control over the early game is very much what you'd want to see from this Misfits column.
Now Maxlore running around that top side, ready to go in, and the question Vedius always is how far behind can you afford to fall with the scaling composition? In 13 minutes, 3K, almost 4K rather, gold lead for Misfits. It's not too far yet, but it's very close.
The thing I have concern with regarding Fnatic's comp is their lack of wave play. They only really have Kaisa, who can approach the wave. While admittedly, Kalista's not the best at sieging towers because she doesn't really build that much AD. The amount of poke damage that they can get against like a Fed, LeBlanc, and an Urgot just looking for chips, it's very, very scary. So, yeah, Misfits still have a fast Baron, something they can play around later on. They do have enough tanky members, they'll be able to play around it later. Now, Fnatic send 4 members up towards the top side. They don't know that SoaZ is in this brush. What action will ensue?
So as in the back here, we may see something. He is going to finish this one, but they don't know. All 4 members remaining on the top side for Misfits. Sight set on the Rift Herald. They are going to be able to grab that one as Febiven just going in, just denying some backs here. And Misfits may just run straight to the mid lane with that creep wave to use the Herald.
This is perfect because Nemesis wants to go back to base, and he doesn't have a wave fit anyway, which means that Misfits are primed and ready to just take this tower down. No contest. There should be no one to get in their way. Febiven even hits level 11. But yeah, really good stuff from the side of Misfits.
And they're going to donate the solo gold over to Febiven, it looks like. So Febiven hesitating here to break this one down. He's just going to walk forward to make sure he gets the local gold. Now he needs to back off as Nemesis is coming in. But things just across the board look fantastic for Misfits here in the early game.
Yeah, but again, I want to reinforce, that's kind of what we expected. If you're going to pick Kassadin, Kaisa, Sion, you should expect to lose the laning phase, and especially when you have a Zac jungler in a losing jungle matchup, but the pressure is non-existent. Like, they can't play League of Legends Drakos. I mean, Rekkles has done a great job staying even farm in the bot lane, that's great, but now Hylissang, like, yeah,
burn that stopwatch earlier, and that's going to be one dead Morgana. Febiven now getting frisky in the mid lane, but SoaZ here. Nemesis thought he had the 1v1. That is not the case. Does dodge the ultimate. That's going to be clutch, but no, Febiven denying it.
No tower in the mid lane. 3 members of Misfits collapse, and now they have their eyes set on the top tower. And to be fair, one of the questions we said coming into this game was, can Misfits win when they don't play around their bot? They have not played around their bot, but they have had 3 winning lanes, and they have just crushed everywhere. So, definitely a strong showing for Misfits, and something that they would want after their 2 losses that they've received in the last 2.
Yeah, it definitely could be a confidence win for them if they're able to continue at this pace. So as once again, just continuously threatening Bwipo, finding that solo kill on the back of an Urgot level 6 has to feel good for him. And Febiven has just been a standout performer, really punishing Nemesis on this scaling pick.
So, let's have a look here. Nemesis goes aggressive. The trade itself is fine from Nemesis' perspective, but he doesn't respect that he doesn't have a tower or any vision around him. And while the flash is good, his ultimate comes up a little too late, which means he cannot escape the flash in from Maxlore, resulting in his demise. So 5 kills to 0, 3 towers to 0, 6,000.
It's so clinical, Vedius. I love that. He can't dodge this. It results in his demise. Yeah. Very formal, very to the point.
Better than he got killed.
He did.
He did.
He did. Only one time, though. Death spread out across the team. Hylissang, unfortunately, bearing the death burden.
Fun fact.
Yes.
Father and daughter are actually in the same game together.
That's a great fun fact. Lore facts are my favorite, Vedius.
Are they?
How do you think?
But the best thing is they don't even know. Kaisa and Kassadin don't actually know that they're related.
Ooh, okay, so I'm gonna get into some Star Wars spoilers here, though, but I will say that Kaisa probably has some strong feelings every time Nemesis goes down there in the mid lane. That's probably not a great feeling, having to watch that one on repeat right now, as Febiven does just get stronger and stronger.
See Misfits deepening their vision into Fnatic's top side of the jungle, and they're slowly just pushing their advantage. Now, the ban isn't even up, so they're not going to look to play around it. Instead, they're going to try and find picks. They have a lot of mobility with this composition. and then just going to deny as much farm and resources away from Fnatic as possible. Take all their jungle camps, take all their vision away, and just make them feel extremely
all the cloud drakes, double cloud, they're like lightning, Vedius.
They just glide through the air.
And that felt pointless, that little LeBlanc leap in, but I liked it nonetheless.
Just being a pain.
Just being a pain.
But it will mean that some farmers lost towards the bot side of the map. Misfits actually, interestingly, sending their duo up to the top side. Typically, you send them to the mid lane because it's the shorter lane, it's faster to clear, and it's also less dangerous. So you have the champion with mobility up in the side lane, but Misfits doing what Misfits do.
Maybe they just needed a bit more farm for the second item, but we'll find out here. It doesn't look like Hansama has completed the Rage Blade, although it does appear to be what he's going for here, as you mentioned. Pretty nice with the double Ren stacks there. Rekkles.
Also, it's like an insane amount of attack speed that he gets with his build, because he goes Runant afterwards, and yeah, he's really fast, so he just like, you stack up so many spears so quickly that on squishy targets you do a lot of damage, but I didn't really see how effective it was against tanks, which is something we might get an opportunity to see this game, but he is so far ahead, maybe will not be an accurate representation.
Very much the case. At this point, kind of just expect him to kill everybody. 500 gold bounty on his head, 750 gold on Febiven. Maybe Fnatic can hope to look for those kills, but once again, the later the game gets, the stronger Fnatic's composition gets. So it really is on Misfits to keep this pace going, to keep finding these advantages, because Kassadin is working towards that second item. Hylissang is still fishing for these bindings as Rekkles picks up what farm he can.
And Rekkles is still doing really well in terms of gold. He is obviously behind Hansama, but he's nearing the completion of his second core item. And once he gets to the, I mean, even on 2 items, Kaisa can be pretty strong. The question is the front line of Fnatic strong enough that they'd be in a position to fight come the 20 to 25 minute mark? And in my honest opinion, the answer would be no.
No at this point. Once again, Vedius. Broxah still fishing.
Another fun fact, while most Olaf junglers will go Redemption second, Maxlore says, forget that, I'm going Black Cleaver.
Did you see how long that Zach was level 5? I've earned a Black Cleaver game. Jezzus is backstage like, we told you to build Redemption. It's like, you can't control me when I'm on stage. You're not my real dad.
He's like, we have 3 damage dealers. Do we need a tank? No.
We need 4 damage dealers. Gorilla's like, can I build a death cap? No! No, Gorilla. Might help at this point. Hylissang in desperate need, I think, of a Zanyas. He would like some damage of his own, or at least a defensive item. Not having that stopwatch does make this Morgana much, much harder to play.
He will be working towards the Zanyas next, I would imagine. You can see he has the Fiendish Codex in his inventory.
Where am I?
But where will the next play be? Misfits, one of the issues that they did have last year was how slow they were to play around the Baron. Often they would have this kind of a lead and then they would throw because they weren't decisive enough. Funnily enough, this Fnatic composition would get to late game and strangely, right, while against many other teams Misfits would throw, against Fnatic, they'd also get to late game team fights and then they'd beat Fnatic in the late game team fights.
Yeah, they've had some really clutch games. I remember in a Nivea Sivir game.
Yeah, it happens so often against Fnatic, but that was last year. This time, Misfits have a very dominant lead and they need to maintain this vision and either find a pick or just start the Baron. And I think they can just start it unless Fnatic can find a good fight here, which looks like they'll just get the LT out from Max.
And they're giving a lot of respect to Broxah when he leaped in like that. Maxlore snap burns the ult, they walk away. They are scared of the response coming in from Fnatic. So it is just kind of a game of these small incremental advantages for Misfits. They continue to build this gold lead, 7K in their favor. Blue buffs being taken away, jungle XP being denied. You can see the level 12 for Maxlore to the level 11 of Broxah. So we'll see if those smaller advantages can amount to something bigger like a Baron. For now, it's triple cloud.
Yep. But because of the shorter respawn times, they will get at least 2 more Drakes. So on the bright side, you know it's not going to be another Cloud.
That is a good silver lining.
Yeah, it's an Infernal.
There you go. Right as Fnatic are starting to get their items under their belt, we'll fight for a real Drake. That feels good. Poor Cloud.
But yeah, so Misfits, I want to see them do something now. They have such a massive gold lead. They can just easily kill Fnatic. Again, I guess the only person they're really afraid of is Rekkles right now. 2 items are done. He is playing this Kaisa. But yeah, I do think that Misfits need to do stuff.
Stuff. Strong words.
I mean,
right now the stuff is the Baron.
Yeah, to be more specific, we already talked about it, but deep vision, look for picks. You can already see them getting this deep vision now. They'll keep mid and top pushed in, and then they'll slowly clear out all the vision in Fnatic's jungle. They'll be forced to go back to base, and then all their wave clear tools are used in their own half of the jungle rather than the actual Baron pit, which will be left in perpetual darkness. They can't face check it, because if they do, they die, but they have to come and check it, because if they don't, then they're going to lose Baron. So kind of force into this 50-50 situation.
Nice. Oh. Perpetual darkness and poor decisions. I see. Yes. That's what Misfits want to force Fnatic into. And they are working on Perpetual Darkness. That control ward, though, is still vexing them, not quite able to clear that one out. And Fnatic grouping very well to kind of defend this Baron vision.
Now, the problem is no one's bot lane. So you're going to have this stalemate for a really long time. Because there's a
oh, yeah, no way to get out of that one. He's immediately going to get chewed up. Support goes down. Maybe this is the key for Misfits to get something started. All it takes is one mistake, and Misfits pick that member off.
So I was going to say that Misfits will probably slow down because they haven't actually properly pushed bot lane in yet. But they catch Hylissang out of position, and now they're making their way back towards the Baron. Now, Broxah is still alive, so maybe they're going to start it. All right, let's see how it goes. Misfits, you have the Kalista. This should be relatively fast. You have the range play as well.
With just about guaranteed smite here, they're going to try to focus on Febiven, dipping, ducking, and diving. Broxah now set up to leap into the pit. Rekkles is there as well. A lot of low health bars, but that's so many spears in the Baron. 3K and dropping. Bwipo leaping into the middle of the team. Broxah hoping to steal this one death. They're getting lower and lower. Eyes on the Baron for Misfits. They're focused on this one. The knockup comes in. Can he get it? Yes, takes it down in the end. And Rekkles now caught out by SoaZ. Hansama taking down. Flashes over the wall. SoaZ on a killing spree. Misfits find the Baron. Nemesis trying to make his way to safety, but the disdain coming out, the double kill dropping for Urgot. Bwipo running to the hills, the triple for SoaZ. It's insult to injury that the former Fnatic member is just getting everything in this game.
10-0 is currently the scoreline for Misfits. They're currently on track for the super ultra mega perfect game, as they didn't lose any stacks during the laning phase. They've looked fantastic so far around this Baron. And this is where Hylissang is already dead. Remember this, Febiven is just buying time. He's just waiting for the rest of his team to secure that Baron. And if Fnatic get this kill, maybe it's easier for them to play around this objective. But Febiven just does a great job of dodging out from all of Nemesis' skills. Then Bwipo goes in, Broxah goes in. If Rekkles can somehow get a cleanup, then they can win the fight. But SoaZ and Gorilla turn their attention to him and say, no, you're not getting out of this one. We're not letting you live. They secure the Baron, they secure the kill onto Rekkles, and then it's just a matter of cleanup from here.
And the goal lead is...
Yeah, he landed the E just as the Rift Walk came out, so he still gets flipped.
Input buffering goes both ways, Tristana players.
So now they have the Baron, and now they can continue their siege. And interestingly, Maxlore is bot lane, not conventional once again. Normally you have the TP or the split pusher sent bot lane, but Maxlore doing Maxlore things.
He is the alpha on this team, 1-0-6. He shut down Broxah in the early game. He's feeling good right now, and he should be. 11K gold lead, Triple Cloud, not a problem when they have the Baron buff just like this. They're going to break down these towers left and right, just continue to extend that lead. Fnatic just now getting second items under their belt, and it feels like it is too little too late. Maybe one more desperation play. Fnatic have come back in catastrophic situations. Broxah trying to find the opportunity here. Hits Hansama, connects to Febiven. Now trying to pull him back. Brings Hansama back under the tower. That could be disastrous. Hansama going to get taken down. Broxah with the key engaged to get this kicked off. So as Febiven still alive, have to give them respect. Gorilla going to be next on the menu. Fnatic buying themselves some time.
So Fnatic actually find a successful fight onto the bot lane of Misfits. Hansama and Gorilla drop. They give up the perfect game opportunity.
Kind of a big deal.
And Misfits fail to break into the base. I feel like the lane assignments there for Misfits was really what was off. They should have shown a little bit more respect. They should have had Febiven either sitting off the bot lane, but yeah, Misfits making a small blunder that Fnatic are very quick to punish.
And a clutch engage from Broxah to find that opportunity to pull Hansama back into the team. Difficult to lock down that Kalista, but makes it happen. Still, Fnatic are definitely not out of the darkness yet. Still a lot of tough decisions, Vedius, to come up for them. Massive deficit, even if scaling is in their favor.
Yeah, and you got to recognize that we're still only 26 minutes into the game, right? Third items are nowhere near being completed for Fnatic. Ooh, the Archangels did actually come through from Nemesis, so he's going for the full late game Kassadin, the level 16 tried and true. So, oh, they actually had the LeBlanc up top. See, this is what I don't understand, right? Misfits have their jungler bot side, they have Urgot and LeBlanc top. This isn't typically how you would use this comp to siege onto the enemy base. They should have had Febiven or SoaZ in the bot lane, and they should have split the map up a little bit more. Instead, it was a really easy avenue for Fnatic to engage because they know they're not going to get punished for it. So I think that was a big mistake from Misfits, and Fnatic did a good job at the very least getting a kill on the board.
Definitely the case. Stops the, what do you say, super, mega, ultra perfect game?
Yes. Well, it stops also just a standard perfect game because they're dead.
Stops it from also just ending a normal game, yes.
Yes.
And it will buy them a little bit more time. And once again, time is crucial. We talked about it at the start of the game. We said early game versus late game. Now Fnatic in the early game, almost as expected, got, you know, destroyed. Maybe that wasn't expected. The destroying was definitely on Misfits' clever play.
Also that insane draft, like Fnatic picked 3 losing lanes, so I expected it to go this way. I think Misfits were surprisingly dominant in the sense that SoaZ found himself a solo kill, and they were able to find a bunch of kills onto the duo once they swapped from the side of Fnatic. But yeah, I think the Misfits have played this game pretty well overall. There are small things I think you can criticize if you really want to be that nitpicky. Like I think their lane assignments have been a little wacky, and that
Gorilla probably could have used his knock-up on the Zac that was flying over the wall.
Yeah, you know, but again, I think for the most part it's been a very good game for Misfits, and they still need to end it. And if Fnatic can stall for another 10 minutes, then maybe their late game composition can turn this around, but I don't think Misfits is going to give them the opportunity. Baron spawns at around a minute 20. Fnatic have no vision in the top side of the jungle.
And Rekkles is now on 3 items. So that is something for Fnatic.
True, very true, true.
But you can see the death cap almost coming out for LeBlanc, so Rekkles might not even get to push a button in a team fight if things go the Misfits' way.
Alright, so send your Urgot bot, keep the LeBlanc top. This is good lane assignment. This is what you're supposed to do.
Same they don't have a Baron buff anymore.
Yeah, but even setting up for Baron, you just kind of want to keep SoaZ down here because you know he's strong enough that I don't know if he could kill Nemesis because he has no magic resistance, but at the very least he should be able to maintain pressure down towards the bot side of the map. And this is just how you want to keep it going while you set up vision. I like the fact that we're seeing an early base from Gorilla so we can get a couple more wards under his belt and set it for what is the soon-to-be Baron that'll be starting.
Baron Dance definitely on the way. Kassadin, though, hitting that level 16 point is incredibly important. Also on the way to the 3rd item, so once again, small glimmers of hope coming out from this Fnatic lineup. We say it, and I'll say it again, the onus really on Misfits to play around this Baron that's spawning in 20 seconds, to lock this one down, and to close out this game before Fnatic get any further.
10 seconds is the Baron. 12,000 is the gold lead in favor of Misfits. They're now sweeping through Fnatic's jungle, very patiently setting up. You still see a couple of control wards on Fnatic's side. SoaZ looking for a flank. Flank Grill trying to find the engage, just headbutts back. Nemesis now the one caught out, going to dodge there, trying to run for his life, but SoaZ is running him down. The Ignite ticking. Is it going to be enough? Broxah brings it back, but there's no one there to back up. Rekkles trying desperately to get some damage off of. Gorilla has found the knockup. Rekkles' health bar getting all but deleted, and Broxah will be taken down. That is free access to the pit for Misfits. I wasn't expecting that fight to just occur in the mid lane, but Misfits, they just force it due to the flank that SoaZ was able to find in the mid lane. Fnatic had no vision, they had no answer. Nemesis was forced out of the fight almost immediately, and this will be a 3 Baron going in favor of Misfits.
Misfits happy to have that win, happy to have that team fight win. The good flank from SoaZ, and Nemesis caught out, not all Fnatic needed. Cannot afford to make those small mistakes against a team with such a large lead. It'll only continue to grow now, 58.9k to 45.7, 30 minutes into the game. And if they break this base open, it very well could be the end for Fnatic.
Yeah, I'm expecting Misfits to try and close things out right now. Fnatic still struggling in the League 1 before they were hoping to have this game be a bounce back, but with the way they're drafting, it just feels like we're seeing old Fnatic, but with none of the redeeming qualities as Fnatic look for a final engage.
Febiven leaping over the wall, immediately kills Hylissang. That was dirty, and now the Morgana binding is gone, the Black Shield is gone, and suddenly Misfits feel empowered to walk right into this base. And that's one rotation of cooldown. Febiven's going to have that up in a moment. He can take another member off the board.
Febiven showcasing what you can do with this LeBlanc on a very squishy Morgana. Still has the flash. Hylissang did not use it. Misfits, they find themselves 2 inhibitors. Now they can make their way towards the bot lane. Unfortunately, it's very pushed out. So instead, they'll just go back to base, wait for the Infernal Drake to spawn. Surprisingly patient from the Misfits side, not overextending. Even though they have a numbers advantage, they don't want to take any gambles, so they will go back and spend some more gold.
And you can see there, 220 left on that Baron buff. They have plenty of time here. And at this point, Vedius, I feel like that was the final nail in the coffin. Both inhibitors, it will take a miracle for Fnatic to come back.
So you can see SoaZ just sitting right behind them, and then Gorilla flashes in, zones Nemesis away from the rest of his team, and if it weren't for the Rift Walk, Nemesis would have lost his life. Then you have Broxah going in to set up an ulti, but the rest of his team is too far behind. There's nothing they can do. Hylissang doesn't even use his ultimate in that fight, and Rekkles has no frontline to play around. Sion still has his ultimate as well. 14 playing from the side of Fnatic that was just immediately capitalized upon by the side of Misfits. It just felt like that they were completely not expecting that fight to occur, and they had no way to respond.
very much caught off guard. Misfits grabbed their second Infernal, now triple cloud, double Infernal, so happy to have all 5 of those Drakes. And this could very well be the final push, should be the final push for Misfits. See what Fnatic can do here. All but down and out, approaching a 20k gold lead, getting closer and closer.
They're just waiting for the other side lane. I'd quite like to see someone like a LeBlanc sitting in the mid lane right now, just slowly pushing those waves in with the Baron empowered. Them just grouping up towards the bot side of the map. I think that's still strong enough, but keep an eye on Nemesis, level 17 now. Here comes Broxah.
Whether the Black Shield is going to go and try to call Farmers back. Nemesis running on the front line, but Febiven now unstoppable. Broxah is instantly killed. Gorilla's zoning off. The team just running through. Nemesis running for his life. The minions collapsing in on the top side. And that looks like it is going to be it. Slow and steady was the name of the game in the mid to late game for Misfits. Not taking any risks, not making any mistakes here. Now Bwipo trying to move in. They're hoping to find something, but sadly the CC is there to stop Nemesis from getting anything done. Rekkles still alive and well, but it is not going to be enough. Misfits taking their time clearing this one out. Rekkles now pulling back, and it's a long, slow goodbye for Fnatic as Misfits are going to take down Fnatic in our match of the day, killing Rekkles in his own fountain to close it out.
Smiling faces on the side of Misfits. They drafted an early game comp. They played towards their win conditions. Every single lane won.